out of a job.
Yeah, it was.
What happens when you want to get back into it?
Yeah.
We're talking about Dana taking time out to be a mom.
Yeah, I took time out to have my babies, about 4 years, 5 years, and I did just part-time work. And when it comes time, I mean, I hear from women write me, I see them on the streets, and I have to admit, half of my really dear friends have this problem. And the problem and dilemma is, once a woman drops out, whether it be voluntarily or because of her family, when it comes time to go back in, she doesn't know what her skills are. She doesn't know if they're marketable.
But she's the same person.
I know that, but if she had a profession before she dropped out, has her ability kept up with the profession itself?
Oh, okay.
If she didn't have a profession, if she never had a true profession, is she going to be able to market the wonderful skills that we all cultivate when we're in the home, working in the home? Is some CEO or some personnel director going to see that as a true talent?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
I think we need some help on this. Here to show us how a woman can put her homemaking skills to work is career consultant David Bowman.
Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Hi.
This is near and dear to my heart, this particular topic.
I know.
Because, as I said, I've heard from a lot of women and a lot of my friends, and I went through this. If you drop out, and I don't care if it's for 6 months or 16 years, once you go back into that job market, if you have not worked in a period of time, is somebody going to take you seriously?
Oh, absolutely. And it all starts with self-assessment. Who am I? What do I like to do, and what do I do best? You see, a homemaker has been doing some things that maybe she won't be doing in the future, but she's been CEO, she's been Chief Executive Officer of the household. She has management skills, she has budgeting skills, and she has communicating skills, and all she has to do is learn how to communicate those to the hiring authority.
All right. About a week ago, we filmed an interview that Dave had with a typical homemaker who wants to re-enter the job market. Let's take a look at that.
Christy, tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm 42, and I've been married 17 years. I'm a mother of 2. I have a teenage daughter and a 8-year-old son. And I work pretty hard at home with my family and doing for others all the time. And I kind of would like to do something for myself, I think, but I really don't know where to start.
Have you thought about what kind of work you'd like to do?
I am like what you might consider a jack of all trades and a master of none. I've done a little bit of like everything.
Do you have any idea what you might be qualified for?
I'm sure that I would be best qualified for chauffeuring children around all day long. Now, I'm sure somebody can figure out a job for me.
What are your strengths?
It's hard to say. You know, you sit there and you try to think about all the things you do, and it's a very difficult thing. You're sitting there saying, oh, well, I do this, I do that.
What kind of money are you looking for?
Oh, gosh, I don't have a clue. I do not have a clue as to what they are offering for a person who has no college education.
All right, with us is Christy Fecky. Christy, nice to have you with us. Now, you spent, what, 3 days with Dave?
Yes.
And what did you find out about yourself?
I was absolutely amazed. I had the opportunity to look at all of my job background and history, and I couldn't believe that I'd actually done that much. Then I was able to sort of focus in on what I wanted to do.
In that interview, you mentioned that you always did things for everybody else. You said that you even had a date book, and on everything in the date book,
Everybody.
it was all for your husband, your children, your friends, and you wanted to do something for Christy.
Absolutely. I also saw a movie called Shirley Valentine. In the movie, Shirley's always wondering who Shirley is anymore after being a housewife for so long. That's what happened to me. I couldn't quite figure out who Christy was anymore. And that's one reason.
Well, it must be painful to look at that tape.
Very, very painful. Please.
Is she not unlike a lot of homemakers that want to re-enter the market? I mean, underestimating their value completely.
Very much so, Gary, very much so. But you see, when we talked with Christy, we found out that during her marriage, she had done a lot of volunteer work. And in the volunteer work, one of the things she had done was she had run a nursery school. Now, in the nursery school, she had 10 permanent paid staff members and 40 people who were volunteers. That's a major job and a major accomplishment.
Why didn't that occur to you that that was some kind of a major job?
I don't know. I really did not assess my own self-worth. And I think people do that a lot.
Can I say something,
Yes.
too? We and I stayed at home and still do work a lot in the home. we underestimate it. Like you say, we do these things because they are expected of us and because we want to do them. We don't get paid for them, and if you don't get paid for them, you don't think they have a monetary value when you want to take it into the workplace.
Well, but maybe there's something else involved here, and I don't want to get off the sub. Maybe somebody's not telling us or telling you that what you're doing is a terrific
That's
thing.
exactly what happened.
There's something cockamamie going on out there.
That's exactly what happened. That's what David did.
Yeah.
And you even put it in resume form.
We did, and as a matter of fact, we found, in addition to the volunteer work, we went back 17 years, and we found that she also had managed some retail clothing stores. This is sales and marketing, right? She also had been a tour guide at Universal Universal Studio Tours here in Los Angeles. Now, if you've been on one of those tour buses, when they disgorge those people, you got to have some communication skills, right? Right. So, okay, let's look at the resume, and let's look at what we did to show those skills. First, she managed 4 retail stores for a national casual attire clothing corporation with staffs up to 25 employees. We're talking about the number of people, you see. That's accountability. Let's go to this one. Directed the nursery and church school programs of a church of 400 members with a salaried staff of 10 and a volunteer staff in excess of 40. Major accomplishment. Really? You didn't know that, did you?
No.
Let's go down here to this one. Managed a station, which in tour guide language means a stop, right?
Stop.
Right.
Place where they rest.
Right, with a tour guide staff for a major studio tour. Now, you'll notice that the significant accomplishments come first because that's what the employer wants to see. That's going to create the interest. This is a marketing tool, and you've got to use it as such because if you put this first, First
Well, there she
Presbyterian
was the
Church.
director of the children's ministries at
That's right.
At her church.
That's right. And over here, of course, Heaven Sent, which was another retail shop, and the Gap. But you see, this is more interesting. This is where the accomplishments are.
There's no chronological listing here.
Well, this is the chronology over here, but this is what's interesting to
as far as her
accomplishments versus her professional experience.
It's a marketing tool.
Sometimes
What
I hear you
is
talk
it? Do you
about me
just
like this.
No, but
It
Christy,
is
what is
true.
it? If you're gone from it 10 years or 17 years, you feel like you can no longer do that?
I think you just lose that sense of self.
You bet.
And you
Yep.
forget who you
Okay.
are.
What's your next step? You're going to take this resume somewhere, I hope.
I am going to take the resume. I also found out through a counselor that it would be best served possibly for me to go back to school to get a degree in child development. So I'd like to go back to school, get that degree in child development, and use that in the community, both marketing those skills, both internally and externally.
All right.
You stay with us,
Christy's
okay?
next step is going to stick around, right?
So stick around for the next segment because when we come back, Gary, we're going to meet one of these people, one of my friends who had a career, left it to raise a family, and is now terrified about the changes in her field. Wait till you meet her. Self-esteem. All right, we are back. Joining us now is one of my dear friends, Dietrich Haynes.
Hi,
Hi,
Dietrich.
Dietrich. All right, Dietrich. You call me many times late at night worrying about this. Why do you want to go back to work? What's going on in your life?
I think the biggest thing is I feel so stagnant. I got married 5 years ago, and I've been raising a family during this period of time, and I feel as if they are growing and I am not. I need the challenge, and I need that for myself. I feel like I've lost a lot of self-confidence in what I used to have.
Christy, you identify with that?
Absolutely.
All right. What did you do before you got married?
I was an administrative assistant for IBM, and then I worked for the president of his own company, which I used the computer, and even now that scares me because of the computer skills I have. I could not go back right now and use a computer.
But
the
now
programs are
Wouldn't
so
that be
different.
just a matter of, I don't know, kind of taking a little pepper upper course or something?
Exactly. I would have to go back and relearn it.
But it's more than that, Gary. It's her self-confidence, too.
go back
David,
and do
her
it.
self-confidence is shot.
Exactly. I would recommend that she go back. Gary, you said it. Go back to school, do a little pepper upper. There are all kinds of local universities, local colleges, community colleges, even high schools that offer all kinds of courses. I brought something from Los Angeles Valley College. And just to show you the kinds of courses they have, they even have stained glass, paper making, landscaping, sitcom
They can get
writing.
that on the home show.
That's right.
Maybe
Real
go to
estate,
school.
all kinds of
Yeah.
things. In her case, she could go back and technology's changed in 5 years. Computers are different, word processors are different. Bring those skills back up to where they were. And interestingly enough, school can provide a wonderful buffer between the home and the workplace.
All right, now, Dave, let's say we're in an interview, you and
Sure.
you and Dietrich. Can you give us a few of the questions that not only you ask, but someone at home can ask of themselves?
Of course.
And determine the skill levels.
First of all, we have to understand that a homemaker has been CEO. Now, let me ask some questions, Dietrich. In managing your home and being the CEO, the chief executive officer of your
Don't
house,
tell her
right?
husband Don that.
You did some managing. Did you
Sure.
build maybe an addition to your house, or did you redo the kitchen or
We
something?
redid the kitchen. We
Ah.
did most of the house.
And you did,
Okay.
but you did most of it, didn't
Sure.
you? Yeah,
That's
you're there all
project
day.
management. Major project. You've got suppliers coming in. You also dealt with plumbers. You dealt with electricians. You dealt with all those people. Did you also manage the household budget?
At one time.
Debits
Yes,
and
I
credits.
did, but
Well, okay, debits and credits.
Sure.
You kept the money right. Okay,
Sure did.
that's basic bookkeeping skills. Can be very useful in talking in an interview. Another question. You did some purchasing. You dealt with not only the household goods, but you dealt with the mechanic, and you bought the drapes and the carpets and all those things. Some purchasing agent skills. All of those things can be nicely and easily put into to an interview and a resume.
But will an employer, a prospective employer, take these skills seriously?
Absolutely.
Will they really?
Absolutely, and she goes right back to talk about the fact she was doing word processing, she was doing computing 5 years ago. She's gone back to school. She's brought those back up to a level that can be used, and that plus the homemaker skills, there it is.
All right, but both she and Christy have, previous experience, work experience prior to marriage and raising the children. What about someone who may not have that? What's the entry level here? I mean,
Well, again, I say go back to school. There's an old adage, Gary. You do best what you best like to do. Conversely, you do least best what you least best like to do. Go back to school, get a catalog, look through the catalog from a school and decide what it is that really turns you on. Then get into the class. It's a semester.
Yeah, yeah.
And then go with it.
All right, do you really think that David has given you some information, Dietrich, that you could take back and really put to use?
Definitely. Definitely. I think with the school, I would have to go back to school to get into the level I want to. I don't
What-
want to go back and be a receptionist. I'm going to have to go back to school for the technology reasons.
and what level would you like to
I
finally
would love
wind
to
up
go
in?
back and be an administrative assistant again, working for a CEO.
Right.
With the current level of technology.
Exactly.
And it's easy to do. It's one semester.
One semester. Now,
That's
what?
all.
Now, what would you take? You take the computer? Are there administrative courses you
Sure
can
there
take?
are. Sure there are. All kinds of
Executive
them.
secretary? It's beyond that.
No, it's
isn't
way
it?
beyond that.
Yeah.
Way beyond that. There are all kinds of courses depending upon the school. Just get the catalogs, look at the listing of courses, and decide what turns you on.
You both have spent a little time with Dave. Real quickly, can you look in the camera and give some people at home some advice? Women at home
Absolutely,
with the
sure.
same problem.
Don't look at your feet now. That's a dead giveaway.
Go, Chris.
I'll go first. I really think if you want to do this, you have to be yourself and you have to believe in yourself, because there's not one person out there that doesn't have some quality that's wonderful.
I agree with Christy, and I think it may take a little bit of time, but that time's going to be definitely worth it to do what you want to do.
I heard a wonderful line the other day. The fellow said, "Are you doing what you think you were supposed to do?" And it's surprising
Ooh,
when you
that's
think about
good.
it.
Wow.
But your best
And
like
lots of times, it's situations like this that will bring you to that. And it goes back to what you said, David. Hey, thanks a million for
Thanks.
being here.
Thank you, David.
Dietrich,
you all.
Christy,
Nice to
thank
see
you.
you.
We'll be back.